Hey, want to see something cool? We're continuing our ongoing gem series, and today we're talking about the fusion created by Amethyst and Garnet. We'll be covering the ins and outs of this fusion, from her appearance and personality, to her problematic nature and powers, to the real-world gem symbolism and cultural influences that could have shaped her. I'm Kris Carr, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Sugilite. Before we lose ourselves in Sugilite, I want to give a shout out to all of our amazing donors on Patreon. Thanks to these gems, we get to keep watching cartoons and talking to y'all about them. It also keeps our wee baby team here at NerdWire afloat and able to keep the lights on. If you want to pitch in, head on over to our Patreon page and see if a donation tier works for you. We'll thank you with shout out, swag, and behind the scenes stuffs. If you're more like Sugilite and more interested in helping yourself than others, no worries. Treat yourself to a tea from Tea Public. Follow that link in the video description to check out their amazing Steven Universe swag. On to Sugilite.
Are you gonna smash stuff with your wrecking ball thingy?
That's the plan. Where should I start?
Sugilite is a massive, rather monstrous-looking fusion. She's got a stocky build, 4 big bulky arms, a mane of dark unruly hair, 5 eyes, thanks to Garnet's 3 and Amethyst 2, and a sinister smile adorned with spiky chompers. I love her design. It's so detailed, like the manicure she has, or the fact that her arms share shoulder joints. You get Garnet's shoulder puff look, and the 2 arms coming out of that same socket. It's just a detail that I really enjoy. Sugilite seems to be a pretty self-centered fusion. Though she's capable of completing missions on behalf of the crystal gems, she doesn't always do it in a controlled manner. She has impulse control issues. She also harbors a lot of animosity towards Pearl.
You left me behind.
We just thought you didn't need any help. Now, why don't you separate and we can all sit down and relax?
This clearly stems from Amethyst's personal issues and rivalry with her. Just like how Pearl is jealous of Sugilite's strength, Amethyst is envious of Sardonyx and her poise. In Guide to the Crystal Gems, Garnet explains that a fusion is the manifestation of the fuser's influence on each other. Fusions tend to be heightened versions of whatever traits and characteristics are shared between the gems comprising the fusion.
Fusing is very difficult to do. Gems must be in perfect sync physically, mentally, and emotionally.
In Sugilite's case, we're getting a lot of impulsive, combative, and often erratic behavior, traits Ruby and Amethyst possess. She appears to share Sapphire and Ruby's reluctance to separate, and has Garnet's headstrong, independent nature. So you mix the distaste for separation with that independence, and you combine it with Amethyst's chaotic nature, all that manifests in a pretty problematic fusion. Sugilite hates being told what to do and has a seriously negative relationship with authority. Therefore, she's difficult to work with. She ends up being an antagonist in her debut episode since she's unwilling to listen or unfuse. She becomes volatile and aggressive. Sugilite is when you and your bad idea bear get together. Your parents tell you that this person makes you a total idiot, you engage in questionable behavior, you go full dude where's my car with this dummy. It's like when Whitney and I go to a bottomless mimosa brunch and start saying, listen, we didn't come here to have a bad time, to producer Rhett. It's not gonna end well.
What the hey is that? I'm bored! It's Sugilite!
I've talked a lot about Ruby, Amethyst, and Garnet being the culprits behind Sugilite's problematic behavior. But I think Sapphire's negative traits are a factor here too. In the episode Keystone Motel, we see that Sapphire can ignore other people's emotions, or at the very least, react in a cold way.
You're choosing to take it personally.
It's fusion, Sapphire! What's more personal to us than fusion?
I know.
She'll wait for someone to wear themselves out emotionally. She has foresight and will wait till what's supposed to happen happens, or make moves to ensure that it does.
And then she'll come back and see that I'm right.
Are you sure?
I can see the path of fate as it stretches toward the horizon.
Amethyst's awe of power and fear of abandonment, Ruby's devotion to the beauty of fusion and her intense emotions surrounding that union, and Sapphire's single-mindedness towards outcome, even at the expense of others' emotional well-being, all contribute to Sugilite's behavior. So not only does Sugilite show how things can go off the rails when some people are paired together and feed off of each other's more negative traits, she also depicts what it's like to lose yourself in a relationship in an unhealthy way. This argument has also been made for Ruby and Sapphire's relationship. And you guys feel free to chime in on whether or not you think their fusion is healthier. In my opinion, it is. Garnet loves being Garnet. Ruby and Sapphire feel best when they're that close, though they still check in as individuals. They separated in order to get married and refuse.
What I mean is, you changed my life. And then I changed your life. And now we change our lives.
They're just 2 nice ladies making out together forever. When Ruby and Sapphire are unfused, we see their insecurities. Fusing seems to make them stable. Sugilite is an unstable fusion. Pearl describes this union as a state in which Amethyst and Garnet lose themselves. When Sugilite is fused, she only wants to be that fusion, not the sum of its parts.
You've been fused for too long. You're losing yourselves.
I am myself, and I'm sick of being split up. So you better get used to me, baby.
I can definitely see how this being a more toxic fusion than, say, Opal is a bit odd. Opal has a hard time maintaining the fusion, but seems to be zen and be the manifestation of Pearl and Amethyst's more positive traits. On paper, you'd think Garnet and Amethyst fusing would be a fantastic match. Over time, it seems that Amethyst and Garnet are getting better at fusing, and more importantly, defusing as Sugilite. As of recording this video, we've only seen Sugilite in 3 episodes, each for shorter amounts of time. In Cry for Help, she shows up all business, just there to destroy the communication hub. In Snow Day, she briefly pops up while everyone is playing Steven Tag. Now, some folks on Reddit and other fan forums have argued that we've only seen Sugilite making brief silent appearances in the series because Cartoon Network neither can schedule or afford Sugilite's voice actor, Nicki Minaj. I can buy the scheduling issue, although VO work is one of the easier gigs to coordinate since you can do it remotely from a studio literally anywhere. But I definitely don't think Cartoon Network's flagship show is incapable of affording the rapper. They've got money. They fine.
You like that, little man?
She's not actually in this episode. Do we still have to pay her? Yes? Fair enough.
Sugilite has your standard set of gem abilities, like enhanced durability and strength. She's a real bruiser and uses brute force to smash her way through a battle. She's not as agile as Opal, but her massive form still allows her to cover ground quickly and move long distances in a single bound. Her weapon of choice is a ginormous flail that combines Amethyst's whip with Garnet's gauntlets. This is not only one of the largest melee weapons we see in the series, it also has a much longer range than the others, thanks to that whip acting as a chain. She doesn't always depend on this weapon though. In Cry for Help, we see Sugilite twist 2 of her arms together to deliver a punch that really packs some kick-ass. In real life, Sugilite is a rare purple mineral with a complex mineral formula. When these formations are found, they're typically massive in size, just like our gem. These formations have been found in Japan, Quebec, South Africa, Tuscany, Wales, Australia, and India. In our feature on Opal, I discussed how that fusion had some similarities to the Hindu goddess Kali, and several of you commented back that you felt Sugilite vibed much more with the goddess of destruction. To that I say, okay, but you can also take inspiration from one thing and scatter it everywhere. Just salt bay that inspo in all your character designs. Sugilite obviously fits the Kali bill, what with their penchant for violence while still being viewed as a destroyer of evil, and her caring attitude towards Steven ties in with Kali's maternal side. I personally see a Japanese influence when I look at Sugilite. And Oni. Oni are Japanese demons with troll-like appearances, and usually have a third eye on their forehead and sharp fangs. The word Oni is derived from On, the Onyomi reading of a character loosely meaning to hide or conceal, or not wishing to appear. This, I feel, factors in well to Sugilite's desire to not be seen as Amethyst or Garnet. She wishes to lose those components, hiding them within her.
You think you're something?
Nothing!
Doubling down on the Japanese inspiration, Sugilite was discovered in 1944 by Japanese professor Kenichi Sugi. I also feel that Sugilite's storyline in Coach Steven draws inspiration from the fight between David and Goliath. We see the weaker underdog, Pearl, outsmart our Goliath Sugilite, giving us a brain over brawn narrative, which the episode doubles down on with the song Strong in the Real Way. Pearl's intelligence and tactics ultimately make her the superior fighter. Sugilite is typically associated with self-awareness and identity. In gemstone mythology, the gem is said to increase balance and protect the wearer from anger and feelings of negativity. Not the case here, since our fusion seems to give into and feed on those negative feelings, become dangerous and stable, and definitely unbalanced. As we've seen with most of our fusions throughout our exploration, it appears that the gems don't have the traits they're said to bestow upon those who wear them, further backing my theory that the stone absorbs those negative traits into itself. Of course, these are just the things I think could have factored into the character's creation, a few things I think the fusion represents, and the moments with her that stood out to me. You might have had a totally different relationship and view of this character. So, be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks again to everyone on Patreon, TeePublic, and all y'all who found us while you're killing time till Steven Universe Future comes back. For more videos, click to the left. Thanks for watching. See you, Space Cowboy.